What do you think is going to happen with Ja and Giannis? Something is going to happen. Do you expect both of those players to be with their teams, yes or no, by the time the trade deadline happens?
Ja, no. The everything has been set up, as I said, from before the season started. You can't have a coach run a system that your star player hates unless you just don't care about your star player. So as soon as all of these frictions came out early in the year, I said, by logic, they absolutely just don't care about Ja anymore. Because
is he hurt?
He is hurt. Well, yes.
Well, you know what I'm asking.
Yes. I would say yes. I think he is hurt because playing is always better than not
They're
playing.
not, waiting another 6 days, December 15th, and they want to make sure Ja doesn't get, for real hurt.
Oh, no. I don't think they're holding him back. No. Look, it's obvious, like I said, this is just someone who does not factor into their future thinking. And so this is where we're at there. When it comes to Giannis, it's a more interesting question because, again, they maintain that nothing has changed. And then also part of this is, what kind of offers are coming across the table? They learned from the Dallas Mavericks situation, if we're going to do this, we got to have the absolute highest caliber auction going on.
Can you help me with precedents for what it is we're witnessing on Ja Morant's front? I don't have a lot of examples off the top of my head of somebody who a couple of years ago is being talked about as possible face of the league. They're obviously ascending. Memphis might be a challenger to Golden State, and then a couple of years later, there aren't drug problems, there are maturity problems, and that player can now be had for pennies on the dollar. What are the comps there? Give me all the precedent that you guys have on this is going to be the face of the league. We're going to put it up there with Anthony Edwards. Oh, never mind.
Oh, he was before Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards is the guy who came in and filled the vacuum because Ja Morant could not stop getting in trouble that very few people had sympathy for. It's stunning to be the guy who, I don't want to dismiss his fans who I assume still exist somewhere, but, it's just remarkable how widely unpopular Ja Morant has become entirely because he's been doing stuff that it ranks as just dumbass stupid. Isn't
that how you become wildly unpopular? By brandishing guns on live Instagram, by disrespecting your coach, your organization, by not being a winner, by being physically hurt half the time. He and Zion Williamson, to me, are now on the same page. They are just two busts.
But no matter the part that I guess I'm asking you, Amin, is to help me, young player with such obvious physical gifts and explosion that all of us are saying, I can't wait to see what this becomes. Is it going to be what takes over the league? A couple of years later, can't play.
Grant Hill.
But can't, okay, injury.
Ben Simmons.
Grant Hill.
Yeah, that's another good one. Brandon Roy was another good one. I mean, a lot of times these examples aren't, he what a dumbass. It's usually he got hurt again and again and again. And so there are a lot of names like that. Penny Hardaway is another one. I mean, I felt like that whole post-Jordan the first time era was all these guys who had potential, but then they got hurt and they couldn't live up to
Forgive
it.
me, though. I am making a distinction here, though. Injury, to me, doesn't qualify in this conversation. It's random. It's guy can't play.
So it's Ben Simmons.
Doesn't have value as a player, and it's not because he's hurt. And when Zaz asks Amin, is he hurt? I don't know if he's asking physically or emotionally, but the answer is yes. Whatever's happening there with Ja Morant, he's hurt in a way that doesn't seem physical. He's not a player people want right now because they don't trust him, and I don't have a lot of comps for that aren't drug-related.
Well, Milton Bradley.
Dan, the reason for Ja, right, because it's complicated. Injury is a part of his story. He hasn't been available in part because he gets hurt quite often. He doesn't have the biggest frame. Style of play is a problem because his inability to shoot consistently makes the game a little bit more of a liability, more tough to build around than what we're seeing from the other great guards of his position, who they can all shoot. And then it's like the seemingness of, do you get it? I don't even think the problems off the court are as big of an issue. Well, the problem is he doesn't seem to understand that it's a problem, and the people around him do not behave as though it's a problem. And so those are the problems. But if Ja Morant were healthy, or if Ja Morant, through the course of these injuries, had come back with a heater for a jump shot, man, those conversations, people are willing to look past a lot. I'll quote the great Mike D'Antoni, who said, I'll play Satan if he can hit a jump shot. Like this idea of like, oh my God, he was brandishing guns on Instagram Live. NBA people don't care about that for real. They care when it affects your availability.
When they're also not a good player anymore.
Right. Like they care, or that you're hurt, or that.
But all of those are potentially in play right now with Ja.
Let me put it this way. If Giannis had a flashing guns on Instagram scandal, you guys think, well, not anymore. Of course, everyone would leap for it.
Okay, but I just the thing that I just want to stop you on, because I'm having trouble with this even as you guys name names, okay? Zaslow saying can't play anymore, like is not good anymore, of Ja Morant is crazy, and it's also not inaccurate. But the part I wanted to ask Amin about, the game that Ja Morant is physically playing is hard, not just because of his body type and not just because the game has changed so much that if you don't have a jump shot at his size, you're really not very serviceable in that league. The other part that has been affected over the course of the last 2 years is how physically hard it is to always land on that floor, how hard it is to get foul shots, how hard it is to play the way that he plays. And so when you guys say can't play anymore, you guys aren't going to find a whole lot of non-injury division. Oh, I know that guy's going to be a superstar athletically, and then 3 years later, oh, never mind.
Well, I don't agree with Zaz on that. I think he absolutely still can be a transcendent player. It's harder to build around when you can't shoot, because that means everybody else has to be able to shoot, including your big. To me, the bigger question is, can he stay healthy? He's out right now with a calf strain. We're seeing everywhere around the league, everyone's being very cautious when it comes to these calf strains. So that's a question. The way he's played early this year, obviously it's in quasi-protest of the way his coach wants to play the game, of what's being asked of him. And again, that goes back to I don't think he gets it, or maybe he does, because as we've said many a time on the show, in the NBA, the way you get traded, you don't hold out. You come up and you show up and you make a stink. You make a mess.
But doesn't that then seem like the worst possible fit for the Miami Heat, which fetishizes culture and players who get it? Like, no one embodies the opposite of what you guys delusionally think is Heat culture. I think no one is less Heat culture for that reason than Ja Morant.
Yeah, but he's the guy
I think
that
they want another Jimmy Butler. That's why they're not trading Ja.
Go ahead, Tony.
No, what I was going to say, too, like the NBA has evolved into, are you a three-point shooter, you get a three-point shot, or you get a shot at the hoop? And every single season of Ja's career, he's taken less and less shots at the hoop by percentage, and it's not close. Like, it's big-time jumps of 5%, 10%, 15%, where at some point he was shooting 45 to 50% of his shots at the hoop, and now it's in like the 20s or 15s.
So it doesn't get to the basket anymore. Yeah, it doesn't get to the basket.
That's the part I'm talking about. When if all of a sudden Ja Morant, the distinction that the two of you are making between Zaz saying isn't any good anymore and Amin saying can still be transcendent. Not if he's not willing to go neck first to the rim 20 times a game. He can't be transcendent. I mean, if he's decided he's been paid enough that he doesn't want any more to fall on the floor and is going to take jump shots, his jump shot's not good enough for him to be transcendent anymore.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that all comes back down to his comfort level where he's at. And is he incapable of getting to the rim, or is this a conscious decision where he's making? But to go back to what David said, oh, they don't want another Jimmy Butler. They'll take another Jimmy Butler if they're going to get to the finals 2 times. If you're going to compete at the highest level.
Bringing them to the finals.
Hold on. You would have said the same thing about Jimmy Butler 6 years ago. You would have said the same exact. I know, because everybody on this show said it. When I told them he's a superstar, they're like, Jimmy Butler's not a superstar. But the reality is, talent wins in this league. And Pablo, you said Miami fetishizes the rigidness and all that. You know what else they fetishize? Second chances. Reclamation projects. This organization,
it's like a third chance for Ja.
They love. Well, it's a second chance because anything that happens in your first organization, you steamrolling everybody. When you get somewhere else, that's when you realize, oh, I'm expendable, and so that's usually when you get the best version of someone, is when they get to that next opportunity. But to answer the question, they really have a track record of getting guys that people had given up on, either because of injury or because of attitude or whatever it is, and getting pretty much a lot of success out of it.